start off with a couple of announcements and stuff as usual. So, floor time is up. Remember how floor time works. The Tuesday before the 1st, Eric puts the floor time up available on Back Agent, and individual agents can sign up for 2 spots per week until the 5th of the month, which is tomorrow, which frees up the entire month and fill in as much as you want. So I don't care if one person takes 9 times a week after the 5th. If it's open, it's free game. It gave us almost 10 days for people to sign up before the free-for-all falls into play. So the Tuesday before the 1st, floor time goes up, 2 spots per week. After the 5th, whatever's vacant, free game. Floor time is up here. There's 1 or 2 people signed up per day. Doesn't look like many days are too filled up over here, so there's ample opportunity for you to fill in your 2 spots today. And then tomorrow, I want no bitching about anyone saying I didn't get a spot because you had 10 days to sign up. So that's how it works, and we're good to go over there. Our toast to the new year was last week, right?
Yes.
It was perfect. It was great. We mailed 3,100 invitations to our clients for life, basically just telling them thank you for a great year of 2013, and it's going to be an even better 2014. We had a lovely crowd if you weren't able to come. Those things are designed, it was exactly as it was supposed to be. We were not packed. Sometimes we have parties and there's 400 people here and you can't walk around. But I had a client I sold 1213 Ashland to almost 10 years ago. Okay? I represented the seller, not even the buyer. He came with his new wife and his new child and talked about selling that house and wanting to buy something else over there. I mean, that's why we mail out to these people, not that we get an immediate response, but the continual response is that you'll pick up people even that were, on the other side later. So, I mean, these sort of events work. So it's a great opportunity for you to bond with your clients, whatever. So, we do about 10 of these mail outs a year. We spent over $100,000 in postage in 2013 mailing to the clients for life. Okay? And it's been very beneficial to me. I'm hoping that you take advantage of it. We tried. You can always get with Sandra or Eric and review what your clients like. You can add in all the people you want in a sphere. I serve on a couple of boards. I add my epilepsy board members to my clients for life because I ran in the marathon benefiting epilepsy, and so they were all there supporting for me. I add my Heights Association board of directors into my little sphere because I'm meeting them once a month at the board meeting. I want them to get the invitations to the things that we do there. So you can add your prayer group, your book club, whatever you want over there to your clients, and we'll mail them invitations to the things that we're doing. 2014 is off to a great start. You can read the paper to read about it. For us in particular, January, likewise, was the single best January in the history of the company, where we had been averaging about 40% increase. We had a 62% increase in this January, which was a 38% increase over the January before, which was a 20% increase over the January before. I mean, we've consistently improved every month. 5 years in a row since I've owned the company, the Januaries have increased. It's the continual trend there. So, and I think you've got to see what we can do to catch the momentum of this wave here. We are very happy to really announce to all of you, which we will make the worldwide announcement later, that Rowan Wright has listed all of their properties in the Heights with us. It's a huge endeavor. It's $47 million worth of listings that Boulevard Realty got. We got at Ashland and 18th, the old Southwestern Bell building, which will be converted to a loft project. They'll be adding 1 additional story. Those units, there's 24 units there. They'll range in price from $600,000 to $1.2 million. They have amenities, rooftop swimming pool, movie theater, workout room, summer kitchen, that will all be available to the people in the Southwestern Bell building, which will be renamed Bell Heights. We're working on formatting that deal. There will be 20 cottages adjacent to the Southwestern Bell building. It's a gated enclave. The 20 cottages will also have access to the rooftop amenities of Bell Heights there. So there are 2 parks that they're creating with little fountains, a little dog park within their gated enclave of Bell Heights. So there's 20 houses and 24 condominiums tied to Bell Heights. Then in addition to that, we got the 6 houses that are under construction on 18th Street there, 2 of which are up and substantially complete there. We'll list the individual houses here shortly, maybe even later today. The 6 houses, we have every floor plan, every amenity, everything that you want there. We'll slowly unveil Bell Heights as a project, and it's very exciting to have Rowan Wright come over and choose us above all others to market and list their properties.
What is the name? I'm sorry.
Bell Heights, southwest of Bell Building.
Oh, I know the name of the building.
Rowan Wright.
R-O-W-E.
Yeah, R-O-H-E.
R-O-H-E.
And Wright.
Yeah, right.
We are proud to announce, and I'm terrible with these last names, so Jennifer Verunda?
Good
How'd I do there?
Verunda, that works.
Okay, I'm terrible with these names. I really am on the last name. Jennifer is our newest agent. She is here today. Welcome, Jennifer, whatever. Jennifer is a friend of Dusty's. Who else do you know here?
Tara.
You know Tara?
Yeah.
Very good. So she's a new agent. Welcome her to our fold. Later today, you will see Donna Sunny Wright join us. She was Sudolph Properties' top producer for the last 4 years. We've created a desk up for her, and where Brian McCulley was, Brian has shifted over to the other room. And so Donna is joining us. She should be here any minute, and please welcome her. We are happy that Rhett has joined us here today. She's visiting. We think she's going to join us later today from Keller Williams. And her friend Luann is joining us. We're just going to do some paperwork later today. Rhett and Luann came from Keller Williams, or coming from Keller Williams. They live in the Westview area and will predominantly work out of the Westview office. She lives on Oberlin, not far from my other listings there. Luann lives on Albans, not far from 2122 Albans that I have leased out to my clients. So we're very excited to get some activity from our Kirby office.
And Brett, we know how to party here, so
We-
what else?
I'm from New Orleans, so.
That Westview Market is an amazing market to go play in. I mean, all markets in the city are doing spectacular. My Tangley, 2911 Tangley, it's just insanity over there. It is a fair house on a beautiful block on a nice lot, 58 by 105. It has peeling paint and rotten wood and 8-foot ceilings and tile countertops in the kitchen and appliances from 1981 and Formica countertops in the 3 bathrooms that look like a gay sauna from 1982. And it's worth about $700. We knew it was going to be a bidding war. We listed for $829. We had 7 accompanied showings the first day and 3 offers before I could leave for the night to go home. We had 22 accompanied showings the next day, multiple more offers. We took highest and best. We took $860,000, and then a backup at the exact same time for $865. There were many reasons for choosing the $860 over the $865 or whatever. And it's just, it's just telling you, 17 people who made offers on that house are still in the marketplace. We'd like a house around $800,000 in Westview.
What's your address on that one?
2911 Tangley. That seller is buying 3019 Robin Hood. Which is in the
What
same.
was the name of the other 17?
It was interesting. I mean, same scenario we've been talking about. On Thursday the offers were, accept my offer by 8 p.m. I wasn't home from the accompanied showings. The last one was at 6:30. I wasn't out of there till 7:15 or whatever. And the same thing. We told them in the agent remarks, highest and best by Monday. 4 more offers on Friday where, accept it by 6 p.m. I don't know what part of that you're not getting over here. It's irresponsible for the seller to accept an offer before I can go through a few more showings over there to see what it is. We interviewed the buyers and said, this is rotten wood. We are not fixing it. Here is peeling paint. We are not fixing it. Here is a shed in the back that's a piece of shit that has no value. It probably has negative value because it probably needs to be torn down. We're not going to repair the shed. And we interviewed the buyers 3 times to make sure they had now they have the unrestricted right to terminate. They can terminate today or whatever if they'd like to. But I mean, that's really the due diligence of what the agent was getting paid to do. Of course, I barely know this seller. She's a friend of a friend, of clients of mine or whatever. And of course she asked for a discount. She was buying a house around the corner that we found for her. and she was listing her house. We knew there was going to be bidding war. Her parents were there in the initial meeting. She's about 30, and wanting to know why I wouldn't do it for a discount, because she had a neighbor friend that would list the house for a discount. It's not about getting the house under contract. It's about the procedure. It's about knowledge and experience. Being able to identify why one realtor may be more advantageous to you than another when you receive an offer. And we had people send the photos of their children and of their dog and their letters and their bank accounts, and we had all that sort of stuff. These are financial decisions. We're not paying attention to that. Her parents have written me back 2 more times about the faith and trust that we've been able to demonstrate to their daughter. They have been totally impressed it was nerve-wracking for her to buy a house, and they wouldn't accept our contingency offer, of course, so then we had to rush to put Tangley on the market. We had to get Tangley under a contract where it closes a week before the other one. We had to negotiate the 2-month lease back on all of these sort of things. And it's very stressful for a single woman who has a professional job to do that on their own. And we're able to demonstrate, the preparation, exactly what I told her was going to happen, happened. I knew it was going to be a madhouse. We were able to just send her away with the dogs, and we dealt with the issues on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we're showing the added value of what it is that we're doing in the marketplace. That's really what they're paying us for, not to get an offer. Anyone can get an offer, but can we execute the offer that's best for her and make the transaction be as painless as possible and see it through to the end or whatever. So it's a very good experience over there, but we need a few more Westview offers. I threw my Rice and Oberlin on the marketplace. Of course, there were multiple offers in the beginning. I spent most of Sunday, on Super Bowl Sunday, over there negotiating the offers. The people have a sense of immediacy. The people that were there said, we want our offer accepted today. I'm over there, they're making an offer, and I'm going outside, and I'm texting the owner, and we're going back in, and they started $1.4 million, and we were at $1.5 million, and then they had a list of $20,000. We came back full price with the 20, and they came back and added 10 more things and went to $1.45 million, and we went to $1.8 million with their items, and we ended up at $1.460 million. No option period, pay $30,000 non-refundable earnest money to the seller that day. If you want it this bad, pay for the right to take it, and got it under contract by 4 o'clock that day. But they did not want to get in a bidding war. My client was happy to get anything over $1.45 million. We were just testing the market at $1.5 million. Worked just fine for everyone, right? They got a house, we got a buyer, move on down the road. So it's a very interesting marketplace over there. And so I say, if you're not doing floor time on Kirby or not spending any time, you don't have anything better to do, you might consider it over there. We will definitely be doing more mail outs and things into that Westview area. We're just waiting to get a few more agents. I don't need to do a mail out and someone walk into the office and there not being anyone at floor time. It doesn't do me any good. They will not wait for the person in the Heights office to drive on over to them. They'll just drive on to Greenwood King down there further on Kirby. We have to have people over there who are available to deal with these people who want to buy or list a home over there. We have hired our other weekend receptionist for Kirby, Jonathan. We'll start training here tomorrow, and he'll be there over the weekend. Yes. So Tony is doing an excellent job during the week. Aaron's been filling in a little bit over on the weekend over there, but Tony during the week at Kirby. We have Jonathan set up over there at Kirby. We have Lorna coming in and out over there at Kirby. They're trying to go to these open houses. Lorna is a resource for people who want to play in Area 17. Her direction is, find me the best lot at any given moment. Tell me where the best master bedroom down is. Tell me where the best 5-bedroom house is. Tell me where the best swimming pool is. Know the inventory, so when the agents get a lead, we have agents who have been going to the broker open houses, leaving the Boulevard Realty cards at the sign-in sheets, and know what's going on in Grays Heights, Southampton, Southgate, Boulevard Oaks, know the historic districts, know the different schools. Many of those people, the Albin story for me is that 7 of them, the buyers, were young couples, not yet married, engaged, who would only go zone to that elementary school. They will not
Oh, yeah.
cross over Kirby to the other one. They won't consider Southgate, which is significantly less expensive or whatever. $200,000, I can get them the same house over there, but they won't go there. They only want to live in that little pocket. My seller of 2911 Tangley would only look at houses 1 block to the north, 1 block to the south, 1 block to the east, 1 block to the west. I mean,
What
that's it.
elementary did they want?
Westview.
Westview?
And you gotta get in early because it's overloaded. So
Yeah.
don't get your house now. You're
It's
not gonna get in.
very
until summer.
sensitive to that
Yeah.
over
We're not
there.
gonna
So,
get
I
in
mean,
by the summer.
and these people didn't have kids yet, and they want to pay that deal to get into that section. So.
They'll break
3
up.
times I've walked
They'll
people
break
to
up
the
before they-
admission officer, the
They won't
provost, or whatever you call it over
They'll draw the
there.
line
It's
number.
crazy.
Right. Okay, we have a couple of topics today before we get into our book. I want to make sure that, we haven't really talked about our branding and mission lately, but we're going to take, as we're adding new people here, we're refreshing for the year. We continue to stress these mottos: experience, exposure, knowledge, and integrity, because it really defines who we are and what it is that we're doing. And as we talk about sales and being salesmen, it's tied to these core values that we have to go out there and define in the marketplace every day. So when we talk about, often I go and I'm in a listing appointment or I'm visiting with consumers in the marketplace, and they'll rattle off a fact. And I try and say, with regards to real estate, knowledge is extremely important over here. We have to have a certain amount of training. We have to have these sales meetings. People have to come and hear what's up to date with regards to doing real estate. If you've been a realtor since 1985 and you haven't done it since 2005, what the hell good did you do? You had experience of weathering the 80s. Doesn't mean that you can get us through the navigation of 2013 and 14. So our knowledge that we're trying to promote is up-to-date knowledge. It's daily information coming out. I have experience, between the 70 agents that we're fast approaching to have and the 750 transactions that we did last year, we're getting a certain amount of knowledge that we can relate to one another. Our strength is that we share the knowledge with one another, as opposed to larger firms who either send it down from New Jersey in a memo or don't share with one another and play with one another very well. So, we're trying to read more, learn more, ask more, share more of this sort of knowledge. I don't have any of those designations that they promote. Not that any of those things are bad. I'm not a luxury home marketing specialist, but I've sold 100 houses over $1 million. I don't have green designation, but I've got LEED certified houses, and I understand solar technology because I study it. I don't have master negotiator, or I don't have any of those little letters by my name. And a lot of new agents pop out of school and they immediately sign up for 5 of these classes and get the designations, which is perfect. You can have an MBA, a PhD, and certified marketing specialist. But if you never sell any houses, it's hard to really get great experience and have a lot of accurate, tangible knowledge in the marketplace. I'm not downgrading any of those designations, but I'm saying it is probably more important to do the job than it is to prepare for the job. Okay? You'll get better experience by actually doing it. And so knowledge is first. We have to obtain the knowledge, but you have to apply the knowledge and have a certain amount of experience. The strength that each of you have is that you're tied to a broker, an owner, and other agents that have a wealth of experience. You guys remember, the firm started in 1994. It's 20 years old. You must realize I started selling houses in 1998. I have 15 years of experience. I've been a top producer on Houston Business Journal's list for over 10 years. I have been in the top 25. I'm number 10 out of 26,000 people. I have a certain amount of experience. I've been the broker for 5 years now of the largest firm that changed their name and redefined and rebranded themselves in the recession. We're the largest gay-owned firm in the 5-county area. We're the largest little independent, non-affiliated firm in the area. We've done a very good job of rebranding ourselves to get what is truly our level of experience. And as a salesperson, you tap yourself in with me. You're getting my experience with your experiences. You're getting Jan's knowledge as a lawyer with my experience as a realtor. We're getting former teachers' experience of patience and understanding and you know, with my experience in real estate. So it's tying the two together that I think is the advantage there. We do have tremendous exposure for what it is that we do. We're not trying to be all things to all people, but we have almost 200 signs out into the marketplace. We have 65 agents. We are niche marketing into all the areas that I think are the single most influential to the buyer or selling market that we have. We are the largest advertiser in Texas Lawyer Magazine. We're the only realtor in HoustonModern.net. We advertise on Swamp Lot. We advertise every week in The Leader. We advertise every week in the Galveston Daily News. We advertise every month in Houston Modern Luxury. Every quarter in Bayou City Magazine. We're doing, $100,000 worth of mail outs. We're doing email blasts. I was on the front page of the paper, the Chronicle, last week or whatever with my 520 Omar. We advertise in the Chronicle. We advertise in Cron.com. We are the only realtor in M. Penner's magazine, which is going to their client base. We're the only realtor in Milu, which is going to the designers over into the West Jew and River Oaks area. So I don't have full page ads in Paper City, because I really don't think that's the consumer that I'm going for at the moment. I'm trying to brand us into your individual little deals. I've advertised consistently every week in that Catholic church right here and their little missal thing or whatever you call it. I'm not Catholic, so I don't know what you call that little bulletin thing. But what is it? Bulletin. I advertise there and Boulevard Realty does, so that we're branding ourselves, and we want the Catholics to pray for us. But there's that niche marketing that I think is trying to get us some more exposure. Of course, I had to overcompensate a little bit because not everyone knew when we changed the name to Boulevard Realty, I had to do a little bit more. But I think we're getting, and remember, I'm branding mostly to the realtor community because it's giving you validity when you write offers. Those people need to know who you are. I can't reach 4 million people. I can't reach Katie and Cinco Ranch and the Woodlands and Pearland. But I can brand Boulevard Realty to the realtor community so that when you make an offer, the other agent has heard of us. Maybe the buyer and seller haven't heard of us, but we're working our way there. Not everyone has a Peugeot, they brand to where it is they're branding to. So, we're trying to get the right amount of exposure. We're always having to consolidate and where that's going, but there's great exposure, I think, and there can continue to be more, of course. Integrity, which is the other key source of what it is. We care most about a long-term decision than we do any short-term decision. I don't want us ever to make a decision based on this closing or this amount of money. It's the relationship for the long term that makes the biggest difference to me with regards to any buyer, any seller, or any agent transaction. We're going to take the high road. We're going to do the right thing. We're going to err on the side of caution. We're not going to hold someone. Realtors and real estate brands get a reputation. There's an association with Urban Living. There's an association with Sudoff. There's an association with Coldwell Banker relocation agents. There's an association with Realty Associates. There's an association with Redfin or Interno or any of those things. You come yourself with a predetermined disposition based on where that agent comes from. And so we have to do a good job of making sure that I'm setting you up for success with regards to when you as a Boulevard Realty agent is out there going on a listing appointment, going after a builder, going after a buyer or seller, or presenting an offer to another agent there. So, we pride ourselves on that. We'll continue to focus on that. And, most of integrity decisions are gut decisions that we make along the way. What do we do about that? What's the right thing to do? And let's err on the side of caution. And, you'll continue to visit with me specifically about each of those deals. But we're going to continue to promote those messages because I think today the consumer, when I'm out branding us, it's not just about having a bunch of houses over there spread out. I look at Berkshire Hathaway's ad, and there's a house in Pearland, and there's a house in Alvin, and there's a house in Cinco Ranch, and there's a ranch in Trinity, and I'm just going, what do we message are we sending over here? I mean, how can, if I have a house in the Heights, having an ad next to one in Alvin and one in Pasadena, what is that? Am I really attracting any consumer to look at that? I don't really think so anymore. I think I'd really rather know, I'd want to know at Central Market that they have a health standard, that they have a policy for screening the checkers so that they're not sex offenders, that they have a security guard out in the parking lot watching my car. That's more important to me at Central Market today than what the special of blueberries is today. Because I'm probably not going to stop what I'm doing to go to Central Market to buy a blueberry. I'm going to go to Central Market because I think it's healthier. I look at this all the time. Milk is cheaper at Fiesta than it is at Central Market. We all know that, okay? But they're lined up at Central Market over there because they want the Central Market experience. They want to buy something they can't get at Fiesta. They're willing to pay 4 times more for a gallon of milk at Central Market because they think ethically the milk and the cow and the producer were taken care of better, right? I mean, they're not going to Central Market to save $1. They're going because they want to brand themselves into that environment. They want to be able to go over there and buy something they can't get anywhere else. And they want to buy it from someone that has a code of ethics tied to what it is that's going to leave our farmland better, our hearts better, and our children healthier. I mean, that's what we're doing. Real estate's much the same way. You know, we're having to brand ourselves into those markets and do so with a certain amount of knowledge, experience, exposure, and integrity there. So that was my talk on that. I did find interesting, we're going to switch over to flood insurance for a moment because, you know, I keep talking about flood insurance. You are going to get tired of talking about flood insurance, but for 2014, it's foremost on my mind. I think it has a significant impact on real estate in the future. Congress continues to play with the Bigger Waters Act. There was an act last week from the Senate to delay it, so there's some headlines that it's going to be delayed. The president has said he's not going to sign the bill. They play politics. I'm not really sure what's going to happen right this moment. Yes, Jim?
You're thinking 2 years.
I mean, there's a proposal because of the steep increases that impact the areas, but I'm just not sure we can afford to continue to subsidize the federal flood insurance program or whatever. They can't balance the budget or get closer to cutting the deficit without cutting somewhere. We just cut food stamps. More people in the world than ever are on food stamps, and we just cut it. The highest number of people ever on unemployment, and we just cut unemployment. And I'm assuming that the same thing is going to happen with the flood insurance. People are going to have to pay their fair share for flood insurance at some point. So I glance at the world and I go, okay, and our general information from other sources, we have a comment about flood insurance in there that hopefully you're reviewing this sort of thing with the buyer and having some minor conversation about flood insurance. Okay? Then it references the information about flood hazards. We talked about this last week. This form was updated in January 1 of 2014, and it highlights again the need for buyers to buy an elevation certificate as soon as possible and have the flood insurance evaluated as soon as possible. There's a huge movement statewide in order to get people to buy an elevation certificate if there's any doubt at all about where their house lies with regards. And we're going to have a separate whole class for those that want it. I'm just highlighting some things that have happened since the last meeting. But we're going to have another class one more time on flood insurance, elevation certificates, and these notices. But I'm just pointing out the notices. Because in all of my offers that came in on Tangly, all of these forms were included. Then we got the special information about property insurance for a buyer or seller, which highlights one more time that insurance is going to see a steep increase. It mentions it several times. It shows people where they can get the history of the insurance. And it talks about, one more time, all the information about getting insurance quotes in your option period and terminating in your option period if you find the cost of insurance to be significantly greater than what you thought it is. What someone else is paying for insurance has nothing to do with what you're going to pay for insurance, okay? What your credit score is has nothing to do with your credit score, okay? They're not related to one another any longer. This is what we're talking about changing in the Biggers Waters Act. If someone had been subsidized, can they pass their insurance on to the next guy, which they've been able to do for the last 30 years? They're probably not going to be able to do that. So if Edna over there in Seabrook is paying $367 a month, the new guy may have to pay $1,300 a month. Doesn't matter what Edna was paying. Okay?
So you including both of these on?
Yes. Here's Greenwood King's new form, which I'm assuming that we will come out with one similar. I think it's probably a very good idea. Flood insurance premium disclosure. And here's Greenwood King's personal form, which we'll come up with. And it says, due to recent amendments of federal law, there, in some cases, there will be arise a substantial amount over premiums previously charged for flood insurance. As a result, you should not rely on the premiums paid for flood insurance on a property previously as an indication of the premiums that will apply to you after you complete your purchase. They're telling the world the same thing I've been telling you. Forget what it cost in the past. There's likely to be a substantial increase if you're in a high-risk area. Greenwood King's deal, they're telling you, they base this on the National Association of Realtors proposed form because these forms are constantly changing based on the information that's out there. But here's Greenwood King as a policy, creating a form, which is probably a very good form for us to mimic. I think we're going to have to do the same thing because it's going to be irresponsible if you sell a house and the flood insurance is $2,000 a year and it gets to be $25,000 and they have to go sell that house because they can't afford it and we're going to have, and they take $200,000 hit on their house. It isn't going to be a fun feeling over here. And it's irresponsible and unethical of us not to disclose the high risk of increased flood insurance premiums in high-risk properties. We're not talking about in the woodlands, I'm not talking about right over here, but in any of these areas have the potential for increased insurance claims.
I was listening to a political show over the weekend talking about this issue, but not really related to real estate. But what they said is, actually, maybe not the woodlands, but a lot more people are gonna have an issue with this than we even think about because 80% of people live near water.
Yes.
And
Rising water.
A river, a lake. Bayous, not just coastal areas, but all over the country.
Fourth and
Iowa
Arlington
has
is going
two
to fill up
rivers.
with water when the interstate fills up with water during Allison or Hurricane Alicia or any of those deals. They are high risk. The townhouses on 4th Street, where my friend Andrea lives, where it's on a slab down low, as opposed to the house next door, which is a raised row house or whatever, sitting 6 feet up. Andrea on the foundation, where there's a bedroom down on the first floor, it's going to be a high risk insurance claim. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. There's plenty of places in Shady Acres, if you sell a ranch style house, it's significantly high risk for rising water. The new townhouse with the new elevation certificate is probably going to be just fine, but the old house there is high risk. Certainly along T.C. Chester and the Bayou, Woodbrook and Cranston and any of these areas have the potential to have significant increases of their flood insurance.
Is Andrea on the 100-year floodplain right now?
Yes, she is.
But it changed a lot after Allison,
And they're
obviously.
constantly changing again.
Yeah.
We're redrawing again here. Yes, Jim?
At that last meeting when Leash was here, he indicated that during the survey, you can get the elevation certificate done right then, and it's a little bit cheaper.
Yes, it is. If you'll just get it in conjunction with the survey, it's much less.
Most surveys are done after
Uh-huh.
auction periods.
The sellers gave us the elevation certificate, but they did not give us the photos. The insurance company needs the photos in addition to elevation certificate. And if they don't have the photos, they have to wait 30 days to get insurance.
Right. Perfect. Yes, Brad?
Glenda just said something that's, I think, pretty important, especially for units selling out here in Shady Acres and those things like that. If they're wanting the elevation certificate and they get it with the survey, most surveys are done after the option period, so they're not paying for it if the house isn't going to be pass inspection.
And they get an insurance quote.
Yeah, there's a conversation you probably need to have with them
It's going
soon.
to be
But-
considered just like an inspection. I mean, you need to consider the investment If you're buying a $300,000 house, you're gonna need to invest $900 in inspection and $900 on a survey to determine if you're gonna be able to afford this house in year 5.
The Napiers had to do this in Kingwood, and it
Yes.
was, you know.
Sure.
But you'll have to do that before the
You're
auction.
gonna have to do it sooner, I think, or make a condition.
But how the auction periods are getting
The
shorter.
issue is
though.
you're not getting the time that we took.
I understand.
Yeah.
Everyone's busy at the time.
You're not
No way
getting,
in
you're not
hell you
getting
could get
title
it.
commitment, so you can tell them you get the survey and the option permit. If you don't have the title commitment, you can't get it done.
That's right.
I mean, I was bugging Stuart on something the other day, I kept asking him, when do you think we're gonna get this? They're like, it's not available. I'm like, I know it's not freaking available, because I don't have it. What I wanna know is, when are you gonna get it? Is it gonna be this week? You know, on a Tuesday, I'm asking, is it gonna be this week? Is it gonna be next week? Is it gonna be the following week? Surely you have some idea whether or not it's gonna be within the next 3
What
weeks.
are you talking?
The title
Oh,
commitment.
So I can, so that they
Yeah.
can do the.
Don't want to get hung up here. The point is, these disclosures are coming out. We probably will modify for our own form like this that I'll be disclosing very soon. You'll be seeing forms coming from Martha Turner, John Daugherty, Greenwood King, and other agencies much like this. It's probably a very good form. I wanted you to understand what it's saying. There is a high probability of an increased cost of flood insurance in the near future. Maybe next year, maybe 5 years, but the likelihood is that if you have flood insurance, whether it's voluntary or involuntary, the premiums are going to go up significantly.
And
And
if it's a
people need to be
high-risk
aware of that.
property, you should just automatically
Assume,
increase
yeah.
your option period.
Yeah, I think you probably
Or if you
should.
know it's a high-risk property, put it in to get the commitment before you even get an offer. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're the listing side, prepare to get the information as quickly as possible. Because you don't want to go, if you're the listing agent, we get out of the option period, we go to the end, and they get the insurance 3 days before closing, and they don't qualify for the loan anymore, they're going to use their financing provision that says, yeah, they thought the payment was gonna be $1,800 a month, and now it's $2,800 a month, and they ratios, they don't qualify anymore. We're not gonna be able to force that person to buy the house, they don't qualify for the loan anymore.
So that'd be the out.
That would be the out.
On every property you buy, you look at with your buyer, you have to figure out where if the water is. Is there any water within anywhere? Because they are gonna start, the insurance companies are gonna start, if you're within, 5 miles of water, you're looking at.
Yeah, and you understand what they're trying to do. Have people pay their fair share for flood insurance. It's been subsidized by the federal government. These policies have been subsidized for older homes and high-risk deals. And, so they've kept the premium at $367 because the government's paying the insurance company another $2,000 a year over here. They're subsidizing. It's been running at a loss. Not gonna probably be able to do that in the future. It makes common sense.
Yes.
And your buyers will like looking at the TSART maps too. I
Yes.
mean, that's a link that people enjoy once they,
In these forms, it's giving them all these, the websites for all these deals, where they can look up the claims, where they can look up the maps. I mean, it's providing all the information. But you have to make sure you're comfortable with explaining it also. So, we can role play and practice a little bit if we need to. But I would take my time to review these forms yourself, go onto the websites and look them up and make sure that you can help explain. Or have a very good insurance agent on your side that you can refer the people to who can explain it better. We like Leash because they're very calming, but they're not gonna hem-haw around it. They're gonna tell them the truth also. We like that.
could you reiterate what addenda you want us to use for the different zones,
I can. I'll send out an email
Oh, okay,
about it.
good.
How about I do that?
Perfect.
Okay. Yes, Maggie?
If there's a condo, like a townhouse with a condo in a floodplain, does the buyer have any risk?
Well, the condo association fees are gonna go up, sure, and so their monthly maintenance fee, which might have been $300, could go up to $400 or something. That's the inherent risk.
They can also get a special assessment.
Well, sure it could,
Mm-hmm.
especially for the claim.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, moving on out of flood insurance, back to our book theme. So, reiterating on the book theme, which is tied to our training for 2014, I've kind of categorized the year into these themes. The first couple of months here are going to be on selling, then we're going to go do marketing, then we're going to do communication, then we're going to do dealing with conflict, then we're going to do with branding and inspiration, and then we're going to do with gratitude. About every 2 months, we're going to have a theme here, and we're tied to some of these books that we're going to use for reference. The point of the books is for you to have them, read them, and to be able to refer back to them. We're not going to come here to the meetings and read the chapters to one another. We can do that on our own. I have taken great length in trying to select the books that I think serve as a reference point that we can go back to and look at from time to time. There's tons of business books and motivational books that are just so obscure or they're so technical. I don't know if you've even read David and Goliath, but the damn thing gets so technical in there. I just can't even think like Malcolm Gladwell. I just want the highlights for someone to hit me on over there. I don't really need him to analyze the Civil War for me in great analytical detail. It was the North versus the South and freedom and all these other things. I mean, it's impossible to follow every paragraph of that book over there, from the Civil Rights Movement to poor David and Goliath. But these are really, I mean, so I don't usually choose books with 90-page chapters on why we're sellers. We all know today we are all salespeople. Oprah Winfrey is a salesperson. She has to sell advertising in order to create the money to create a network. Every author in the world is a salesperson. If you write the great American novel and it stays over here in the drawer, nobody reads it. You have to sell your work to the publisher. You have to sell it to the buyer of Barnes & Noble. When it's at Barnes & Noble, we have to sell a few copies so that you stay on top of the New York Times best-selling list. Almost anything, I mean, every business is selling their services, and we shouldn't be afraid to think of ourselves as salesperson. You're selling your services to your friends and your family and your co-workers and each of those things. And so we, as realtors, we have to remind ourselves that we are salespeople. As salespeople, we want to be knowledgeable, we want to have experience, and we want to have trust, integrity, and exposure. I mean, that's how we're going to do it. But we have to remind ourselves that we have to look, how are we salespeople, and how can we be more effective as salespeople? And I like this book. I like the fact the chapters they average about 8 or 9, 10 pages or whatever. So I mean, hit me with the high points. Don't bog me down in a bunch of stuff. That's what the internet's for. And so we kind of picked up and want to talk kind of today about the first 6 chapters of this deal. And I reference other books, and so from time to time I'm going to just leave some other books out here that I read, kind of getting in preparation for these others. I thought this was a very good book, Where Winners Live, because it has to do a little bit with real estate and houses. But this book was mostly about accountability. And I didn't want us to get bogged down in your personal accountability, but for you to be successful here or in real estate or in any career, you have to take responsibility. You have to do the work. I mean, for us to have knowledge, I have to go study the hot sheet every day 4 times a day. I mean, I have to know what's going on in Area 16, Area 17, and Area 9. I need to know what land is going for in Afton Oaks. I need to know what a high-rise is going for at 2727 Kirby. I need to know what a fixer-up ranch-style house with 8-foot ceilings is going for in Braes Heights versus new construction. I mean, this is what we're doing. I'm studying what's new on the market. I'm studying what got in the option period and how long did it take to get there. I'm seeing what's sold and what kind of repair allowance were they able to get for those sort of things. You know, I'm trying to study what the rental market's doing in any of those deals. So if you're not studying the hot sheet, find an area and become an expert, okay? Melanie is an expert in downtown high-rise living. Melissa is a new home construction specialist. I am a Heights area specialist. I mean, find anything that you can be a specialist in first and work right. Kenny is good with first-time home buyers. Patient, he's kind, he's polite, he has more than enough time to go and play with them, where those people are often intimidated by me and they wouldn't choose to use me because they think every day people say, I'm sorry, I have my son, he's only buying a $350,000 house, I know that's not worth your time. And I'm like, I make my living selling $300,000 houses. I happen to sell some more expensive houses, but I mean, I don't want to ever be perceived or pigeonholed in that I wouldn't take a $300,000 listing or a $300,000 buyer. Of course I want those people, but society's going to kind of dictate what it is that you do. So I challenge you always to think, what are you an expert at? What's going to be your foremost section? You know, neighborhood, church group, women, old people, disabled, it doesn't matter. Find you a specialty that we can kind of brand yourself in. And of course, you have to be diversified. We have to sell houses all over the area to all kinds of people. But you've got to start when you're selling yourself, because you have to build confidence when you're newer. And that's one way that you can get it. It's probably not easy for a brand new agent to go sell the $2 million house in Afton Oaks with Laura Sweeney. It isn't that easy. I mean, it took me years to get there. So I'm probably not going after, when I'm newer, I wasn't going after those sort of things. I started even with the builders. I started with Allegro because they built $300,000 row houses, and then they were 500, then they were 800, and then they were $1 million something. And I was able to grow my confidence that way into that sort of marketplace or whatever. But I would challenge yourself, find what you're a West U specialist or whatever it is. Let's find a way to brand yourself through there, whatever. But I love what is the first chapter of this deal. Work with willing buyers and get out of this mindset of struggling with a buyer. We need to be out of the mode of hunting for buyers and instead attract buyers. One's coming to you, and the other side, you're going after them. The ones that you're going after, you're going to beat your head up against that wall every time, and it's really not worth doing. Find a way to attract the buyers. There's lots of ways to attract buyers. Think out, we can have a new home buyers seminar and attract people who are interested in the process of new homes. We can create a sense of advertising where we get a call because we're relocation experts or West U experts. If someone's calling because you're a West U expert, you're 75% there. A, they called you, so they want to buy a house, you're not going after them. B, they know something about you. And C, they want to talk about it. So we've got a fighting chance of, when we're attracting that buyer, being more successful with taking that. And if you're knowledgeable and have confidence, then you can turn that into some sort of transaction at some point in the future there. Tangley, I met with her 1 year ago, 2911 Tangley. We referred her to an architect, Jeremy with Brickman, who designed this building, and she explored thoroughly remodeling that house or tearing it down and building that house. She had enough money, so I'm planting the seed. I'm building a house for one of her friends, one of her co-workers. I sold the house for one of her co-workers. I'm having to plant the seed. She lives next door to a realtor, and Bobby Fisher lives next door to the other listing that she bought over there. And so we met a number of times, and her determination was that at 31, she didn't have the time to build a house or go through a $400,000 remodel. She didn't want to take a year. Where was she going to live while she remodeled for a year? She didn't have the time to pick out grout and tile patterns and edge detail of granite. She just didn't want to go there. And so we picked up, geographic areas. She was only interested. And she found the Robin Hood house. She went to the open house and called me. Yeah, I didn't find that house first. She found it herself or whatever. And we went over there and explained to her. She wanted to offer a contingent offer. I told her it wasn't going to work. No one in America is going to take a contingent offer for a house that's been on the market one day. But her parents said we should try, so I have to do what I'm told to do. So you just try, and of course they countered right back, no contingency. So the seller was not in a hurry to sell. Perfect. Let's move the close date to the end of March. Let's give this seller an extra month to move out, all of April. You just stay over there, which let's just get us a 10-day option period, 21-day financing period, okay? Old agent doesn't really understand how the financing provision works too well. So let's go get ourselves 21 days to go get under contract and out of the option period over here on your Tangley house. So we all know it's contingent. She doesn't have enough money if we don't sell Tangley, okay? So she's not going to qualify for the loan. Now it's just not contingent, but we go over there and we get an offer and a backup offer, both of which can close quickly so that we can close on March 7th, have our money to go close on Robin Hood March 14th, lease back till April 30th on Robin Hood, and then we lease back to May 15th so we can spend 1 week putting in our hardwood floors on the second floor in the secondary bedrooms, do her touch-up paint, take a week to move over there. It works just fine. As the salesperson, I had to lay some groundwork, explain that I was knowledgeable and could do something that they couldn't do on their own. Show her how to buy a house where it's not contingent, that her parents felt comfortable enough. her parents are rich and can give her the money to buy the house. That was my plan. Let the parents buy her house, take the money, buy the Robin Hood house, sell Tangley, pay back the parents. So you've borrowed $800,000 from your parents for 2 weeks. What does it really matter? Tangley was going to sell, which is the true background. Helps if the parents are rich. We all know that. But I mean, they don't want to go down that path, so we have this plan that everyone seems to be very comfortable with. The other agent immediately came to Tangley, and we all know Tangley is going to sell fine even if the first transaction doesn't work, right? So the Robin Hood seller's not worried. We have all these lease backs, so what does it matter if it gets bumped one more week? What does it really matter? Nothing. And it works just fine in that scenario. You've got to find a way to attract willing buyers where they're coming to you for some way versus you going after them. I mean, even mailing out cards to your neighborhood, mailing out just sold. The people will call you because I saw you sold Tangley in record time. I want to know how you did it. That's what you're looking for. You want them to call you based on something that you've done there. So I think that is a good approach. But we're better off trying to find a way where you're attracting better buyers. And if it's just a struggle, move on. The energy it takes to do this. I am horrible with FSBOs and expires. I cannot handle the rejection. I got a lot going on in life, and I do not want to get my head beat down and deal with obstinate sellers and houses that haven't been able to sell before. Occasionally I'll go after one if I think it's a really good fit for something, you know, because you can get some FSBOs that have just, you know, life's beat them down too, and they really do need you or whatever, and so you might go after them, but I just can't consistently do that. I'm better off finding a better way to attract a buyer, someone to call me, you know, by doing something. So, I mean, I love that whole little paragraph of what are you doing to attract willing buyers, and stop. And it gives you 12 and a half ways for you to go and attract some buyers, and they're very specific. Some will work for you and some won't. You don't all need your radio show to go create a buyer. You know, that may not be in your best fit. And Robert, John, and I, we've had some email dialogues. Not everyone's going to want their own website. And I don't know how to Twitter or tweet or whatever. It works great for Justin Bieber, but I don't know how to do that. If it works for you, great. Find what works for you. Be willing to try a few other ideas that you might not, out of your comfort zone or whatever. But keep working until you can find something that works well for you. And then, you know, chapter 2, talking about the attitude of yes. My role is to make you feel more comfortable, more knowledgeable. You know, make you. I had a buyer on Tangley call. You know, people call constantly or whatever. Woman, da da da. We ended up in about a 30-minute conversation. And said, well, if I represent myself, will you do it for 3%? No, and here's why. And I rattle off into this. If I use a lawyer, will you pay him 3%? No, I will not. We don't. Our listing agreement doesn't allow for that. That lawyer, while it's legal for them to do that, does not have to follow the same code of ethics, does not have to join the multiple listing service, does not have to get a super, does not have to let you in, does not know how to advise you on inspectors, how to get you through the loan process, find you the right appraiser. There's a reason I'm willing to pay 3% to Greenwood King, and I'm not willing to pay to a lawyer. I don't care what the property code says. I'm telling you what my listing agreement said with the seller, what I told the seller up front why I don't cooperate with non-MLS agents. I don't care if someone's mother in Abilene is going to write the contract. I'm not going to share our commission with that person, and I'm going to advise our clients not to take those offers because those people don't have to play by the same rules that the rest of us play by. And so we rattled on, and she rattled off, you know, if I buy and sell a house, you know, she was consistent about the deal. And she literally said, I am totally amazed by your confidence. Can I come work for you? At the end of my 30-minute conversation. And it was because I went prepared for those questions. It's not like I don't get them on a regular basis. It's not like I don't have to defend them to the agents or to buyers or sellers. You must remember, the majority of my clients buy and sell a house. I don't represent a lot of people that just sell a house and move outside of the area. So I'm accustomed to that question and can explain the value added of our services and why we earn every dollar that we do. But you have to have the same level of confidence. You have to have a positive, it's instilling confidence. It's hard to do unless you do it a lot. I don't care if you throw footballs all day long through a hoop. When you get into the game, it's a little harder over there. Peyton can't do it every time, you know. So you've got to instill confidence and shrug off if it didn't work before there. And that was back in believing in yourself and believing in the company and believing in your brand along the way. 4, about the humor, I mean, Jan thinks I'm funny, but occasionally you have to have a little sense of humor over here. When these agents, you know, called me Jay Carter Breed and Heidi Dugan and Laura Sweeney and all these people untangling that, you know, hey, I want the conversations with them. You know, and I'm laughing with them about the state of the market. I mean, because you're, you know, and I cut to the chase and say, Carter, if you're not at 860, we probably shouldn't continue. Don't bother writing up your 8-page contract. It's not worth it over there. And so we're laughing about how the marketplace works. But you have to employ, I mean, it's frustrating. Remember, I'm talking to a lot of buyers who are very frustrated that they've been trying to get into that Westview market for years, and they couldn't afford to get into it when it was 500, and now it's 8-something. You know, and I don't know what to tell them other than it was cheaper 3 years ago, and I don't know that it's going to get any cheaper in 2015. So if you want in the area, you're going to have to pay now. But you have to employ a certain amount of humor and not let life beat you down, and take it with a grain of salt and move on down the road there. Chapter 5 talks about branding yourselves and co-branding and finding a way of you, and we mentioned that again, what is your specialty, what is your strength, what is our mission over here. And 6, what is 6 over here? Something that matters. Your reputation, which is foremost, I think, if you want to do this for a long period of time, what your reputation is today and what it becomes is probably the most important thing that you can do. That's how you build trust. That's how you get referral business. That's how you grow your business. Anything else is totally short-sighted there.
And your reputation with other agents.
Absolutely.
You screw some over, this
We are
real estate market is
branding.
very small.
That's really important.
Yep. Tangley's another prime example. I don't want to focus there. There is no way that 17 people cannot be disappointed or frustrated in the process. I knew it going into it. And so you have to, look, I'm going to be fair and consistent along the way. No, I am not going to counter 17 people. It's impossible. There's too many pieces of the puzzle to counter back that many offers and then wait for them all to respond there. Here's the guy. Submit your highest and best, and you'll have a better chance of getting accepted if you use Commonwealth Title, if you close early March, if there's a lease back to May 15th, you know, and if you don't have a long option period, that's what's going to get you the deal. So my client, who could have moved into temporary quarters, but it cost her another $5,000. So on the backup that we have, they're less likely to want to do the lease back. Fine. You're going to pay her to move twice. She's got to move out, and then she's got to move back into Robinhood. And for that consideration, she wants $5,000 for that. And if you don't want to give her $5,000, then you probably need to move on down the road. But I think I was fair, honest with all of them. I apologize that you didn't get it. If you were the seller, would you take, and you had 9 offers, would you take $830 cash, or would you try the $860 offer? They were putting $400,000 down and financing $400,000. It's probably worth $30,000 to try. So these people couldn't understand that they offered $830 and why we wouldn't take the $830. If I put Tangley back on later today, the inspections were at 9, I'm going to get some more offers, right? The market's telling me there's plenty of offers or whatever. I have no incentive for her to take the $830. We need to try one. We need to get an inspection report because it isn't going to inspect very well. And then we need to give all those inspection reports to everyone else when we go back on round 2 if that's where we're at. By taking the backup, people have buyer's remorse. They're worried that did I overpay? And if you tell them right on the, just tell them, we have a backup higher than yours already in place. We negotiated the backup before we told the first people they were in first place. Because I wanted the backup for a couple of reasons. A, I need a backup plan in case it doesn't work. But B, I need the buyer to feel like they didn't overpay. They don't feel like they overpaid if someone's willing to pay more than them, right?
Right.
It's all perception. What makes that house worth $860? A bunch of other people were willing to pay $860. If no one was willing to pay that, it'd have been $500.
And they signed the over if it doesn't appraise out deal, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah.
So it works fine, but Reputation is about fundamental fairness in the marketplace. Often, and we're going to discuss it throughout the year, there's conflict in these scenarios. There's agents and timing and buyers and conflict over inspection. But if there's a reasonable expectation, like I say, with this buyer, we took the 860 even though we had an 865. So we had walked through, they had been back 3 times and the others hadn't but once. And they were a young couple, driving a Range Rover, energy trader, making a lot of money. You know, but we pointed out the rotten wood and the peeling paint, and they understood what it is that they were getting. And I think we have a better chance of it working. You never really know. It goes back active later today. You know, that didn't work out too well. But we have a fighting chance of it being, you know,
So they're not gonna tear it down.
they're gonna live there. I think they're gonna do the same thing. My client, a single woman, bought it in 2007. She bought the least expensive house in Westview that she fit in, that she could tear down in the future or remodel. And she did a few cosmetic things and had a bunch of parties and got engaged, and it was a perfect house for that. So no, I think they're gonna keep it, and they're in 5 years decide what it is that they wanna do with it, which is the perfect buyer for that house, I thought. Okay, how about some more comments from the book? Anyone have any general comments? Anybody like it, hate it?
I would just like to say, I think that your money you invested in your Toastmasters classes,
Yeah.
anything
Is it okay?
to overcome the shyness that you have in getting up and doing presentations has worked.
It's being the broken hearted
Yeah.
5 years. I was very shy
Yeah.
5 years ago.
You-
I started and I didn't know the people
I
in
do
the
have
audience.
I have to make a compliment to you, Bill, because Mike Inselman came as a guest of mine for the event on
Yes.
Wednesday night last night. And Bill had thanked me for inviting him to meet Mike a couple of months ago at lunch. And I was really quite surprised when he came. I didn't think he would come. And he stood here and listened with his arms crossed as he usually does and thinking analytically about everything. And Bill's given his speech about value, and we're not here to sell a house, we're here to sell a relationship. And we're not here for the short haul. And he said, you know what, this guy's got something. And I thought, for Mike Inselman to say that?
Right. Well, thank you. Thank you, thank you. It was a nice event. And, you know, I make myself a few notes, but I do just kind of come up here and wing it most of the time. I had no prepared speech at all for the toast. I wasn't real sure what I was going to say. Depends on how much I drink beforehand.
Oh, and we're fast becoming known for our wine party.
Yeah, we have a lot of wine parties. But I think there's a certain honesty with wine. And thank God I'm a happy drunk versus sad. But yeah, I think what I said was important. I mean, the people that were there in the room, they made the year successful, and they're going to make the rest of our year successful. And we have to, be gratitude, offer a certain amount of gratitude for them. The agents that are there, the staff that are here to support, I mean, we're all here for one another. And then we need somebody to buy a house so we can stay in business. And so we have to, we have to recognize those people. Everyone I know knows 50 realtors. They have a choice every day of who they're going to do business with. They're going to do business with people that are competent and people that they like. And people, they're getting, I mean, most of my deals, I mean, it's a lot of money. Robinhood, 3% is $36,000 and 6% of another deal. I mean, they're talking about $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on a lot of these transactions or whatever. They feel like they want that money to go to a good source. I mean, it's the same thing. We need to take our money and we need to plan for the future, and we need to utilize our resources to make sure that the neighborhoods are better that we want to do business in the future, not just today, that the HOAs are stronger and that the sidewalks are better and that city ordinances are working in favor of people, not against them. And we take a risk and we go out there and we take a stand on some of those things because I think they are important. We can't sit idly by and have whites use one water fountain and blacks use another. We have a responsibility to take a stand on some of these things and say, this is important for the future of our city, our state, our country, and I'm willing to go take some of those things. I piss off a few people along the way, and that's okay. It'll be all right. So long as I do it with a sense of integrity and purpose, I think we'll get respect. I mean, they may not understand everything that we do, but they'll at least respect us labor for it. So. I hope that you continue to read the book. We'll pick back up next week with some of the other core chapters there, and I thank you very much for coming today. Yes, Brian?
Can we talk about some listings that we have coming up?
We can. You want to take a minute and talk about listings? Sure.
I've got 911 Teetshorn for lease, which will be coming up for $1,775 at 1,200 square feet. Got a single family over on 23rd Street, 840 square feet, it'll be coming on for $1,200 a month. 1625 Oxford, which is 1,400 square feet, will be coming on for about 2,300.
You're a leasing specialist, I see.
And then I've got a pocket listing over in Spring Shadows, 1,700 square feet, 8,000 square foot lot, probably for about 220.
Very nice.
So,
How much was one for 12 shadows?
220. I'm listing non-MLS 628 Euclid, or going on our website today. It's $1 million. It's a 15,000 square foot lot with a 2,200 square foot house, a pool, and an 800 square foot guest house. They only want to sell off the MLS. They don't want to go on the MLS. We have professional photographs already. We're emailing it out. We'll send an email blast. It'll be on our site later. It's a perfectly nice house. It's not overly big. It's been remodeled once with expansion. It wants someone who wants a very, very nice estate or something and wants to do some addition later onto it. It's a perfect house, I think.
Does it have a large backyard?
It's a huge yard.
And how
We have
much
a
is
survey,
it?
1 million.
What is the?
Is it brick?
Address?
628 Euclid.
Is it brick?
No, it's a wooden house.
I have 2606 Link Road over there by Airline, not far from Caminos. It's a 3-story town, kind of like a townhouse, but really technically a single family. It does have a small little yard. As you go out, you can take a nice little path, and there's a little bigger space. You put a nice patio table and that kind of thing. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It's a Perry townhouse. We put it on the market for $299. It'll probably go on either the latter part of this week or early next week.
Yeah, if anyone has a client or knows of anyone looking for affordable office space, we have a few little spaces that we've worked with for a while. It's Dr. Longoria's space, very affordable.
All bills paid.
All bills affordable.
Right here in the Heights in Yellen 20.
Did I mention it was affordable? And
How much is it? Is it?
You know, 1,500.
It's a floor price? Okay.
1,500, 1,800.
They're cheap.
yeah.
Is it in that,
Is there a shower? To go down to McDonald's.
And if anybody's got, we have a client who is a contractor that does some specialty work. He called me yesterday asking to put his name out. I'll put it on Back Agent if anybody needs some,
Yeah.
do some little.
Most of these new listings, Back Agent is the best place because we're so diversified. I mean, Deb doesn't really care what we do. She's, and the West. I mean, we got to put them on Back Agent so that we know. But I do have many listings that I'm fixing to put back up. I was just waiting till better weather. We've got a lot of things coming up. A lot of great opportunities for you to advertise, to sit at open houses. I got all my Acton Oaks listings we're going to put on very soon. I got more Oak Estate things we're putting on. I got more things in Memorial and Tanglewood we're going to put on. A bunch of things in the Heights we're going to put on. We got many things in West G we haven't put on yet. So, if there's something you want to go brand yourself under, you let me know.
Sorry,
Yes, Jesse?
I have a listing coming up on 1644 Columbia. It's a gorgeous house with a nice backyard that has like a cooktop and everything, and great alley access. You can't beat it. It's going to be about $1 million. So.
Is it old or new?
It's totally redone 2 years ago.
And I've got that lot, coming up, that's 1111 Ashland, 8,000 square feet, and we're gonna start about 475. And I've got kind of a verbal, but you know how verbals are.
It's how many
Close.
square feet on the lot?
8,800, actually 8,800.
That's 620 East 9th Street, which is a beautiful house. It's on a double lot. It's got a master down, a pool, a garage apartment. It's $1,379,000. We're going on Wednesday. It's a very, very nice house. Beautiful.
Which one is it?
620 East 9th Street.
Would my boys like it?
I like it.
Yeah.
Let's show it to them.
All right.
It's a very nice house.
I was just gonna tell y'all, I don't know if anybody is aware of the commercial spot, where the church was, they tore down. Are you aware of what's going in there?
Up at 25th or whatever.
No,
Which
I'm
church?
across from the Kroger. and-
I talked to the developer,
Yeah.
or the
Oh, Braun or whatever. It's putting back a development there.
I was just going
Retail.
to tell you, for your information purposes, what's happening is they're only building a 1-story strip center, basically, and it's 8,800 square feet. They have already leased completely to 4 tenants, starting with 1,600 square feet up to, Drew is shaking his head, he knows all this already, 2,700 square feet. TCBY's going in, Snap Kitchen, some kind of California-based pet daycare of a sort, and one other one. It's
I
not.
thought it was Zoe's
It's,
Kitchen.
no, it's Zoe's Kitchen, thank you.
Okay.
So those are the 4 tenants, and just so you know, the rental is $40 a square foot, and it is, then triple net, $8 a square foot. It's, and they're all leased, completely.
19th Street is gonna go through tremendous
But-
revitalization.
And that's on 20th.
I know, but it's still tied to
same
what's
thing.
going on. They own Torchy Tacos in the Harold's building also.
What about that brewery that's going in? Did y'all see that? It's, it's going to be called Town in the, no, Town in the City or, so it's right by where that.
It's on Calvary, right?
Yeah, Cavalcade, right by that old Blockbuster.
Oh.
And it's gonna be opening pretty soon. I just saw it on
Is that where
Facebook.
the CVS was?
Well, if you drive it,
No,
it's
the
still
other
a big
side. On the
lot.
other
Where the
side,
Blockbuster
so,
is.
but not where that was, kind of like behind it, I think.
Yeah.
Do you know where it's gonna be?
Yeah, if you drive it though, it's just a vacant lot. I think they're having trouble with like the setback on the California.
I saw that, I think everything got approved.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a lot,
Works
so I don't
out.
think it's opening anytime soon.
No, but it's coming.
All right,
Maybe the next
that's
year.
sign up before time if you haven't done so.
When are you gonna put it up?
No, you don't want